All right, welcome to week 11. This week our topic is a combination of political parties, party systems, and interest groups. The chapter begins with a comparison between the former Soviet Union and the United States. And one of the contrasts was with the United States having a two-party system, while the Soviet Union was dominated by one party, the Communist Party, which didn't tolerate opposition. The collapse of the Soviet Union appeared to demonstrate that one-party systems are in some way illegitimate, but the Communist Party of the Russian Federation, successor of the Russian Communist Party, still exists and competes in Russian elections. They generally have performed fairly well in regional elections and average between 11 and 12% of the total vote in Russian elections. The United States, in contrast, still has a unique party system with only two political parties having a realistic chance to win elective office. Why is it that the United States only has two parties? Surveys consistently show that Americans would like to see more choices in their elections. But we persist with a two-party system. What would have to change in order for America to have a multi-party system? So first of all, let's talk a little bit about what exactly is a political party. Most often, these are private organizations that compete for elected office in order to shape the direction of government. Most parties are comprised of individuals who share similar economic or ideological commitments. Party systems refer to the composition of political parties that compete in a country for political office and control of government. Party systems can range from, again, one party dominant, like what you saw with the Soviet Union, with multi-party systems like exist in Brazil or Italy or Israel, where you might have a couple of major parties, but then a whole slew of minor parties that engage in competition for power and influence. Political parties are similar to interest groups, which, like parties, want to influence the direction of policy, but don't actively run candidates for office. Both parties and interest groups are what we political scientists describe as intermediary institutions, which is a term that political scientists borrowed from the field of economics to describe informal institutions that facilitate interest aggregation. So in other words, parties and interest groups help citizens identify their interests and channel their participation. In the United States, the two-party system is actually that both parties are actually comprised of alliances of interests. And we can discuss which interest groups tend to align with the Democratic or the Republican parties. Once upon a time, interest groups in the United States tended to hedge their bets quite a bit and split their support strategically between Democrats and Republicans. That's not so much the norm today, and it's another kind of, data point, kind of illustrating the degree of hyperpartisanship in American politics today. Much of the material in this chapter deals with kind of cause and effect issues. What causes political parties to emerge? What factors influence the number of parties that are able to sustain themselves from election cycle to election cycle? How durable are political parties and the systems the parties comprise? I think that some of the cases and context boxes are really cool in this chapter. For example, on page 263, the author discusses Japan's somewhat unique status of being consistently listed as a free society, but having also been dominated by the Liberal Democratic Party since the formation of its constitution in 1947. What factors have contributed to the Liberal Democratic Party's political dominance? This week, our country for study is Canada, which is another one of the countries that is not profiled in the text. So we need to kind of flesh out what we're talking about with Canada and how they're similar and different to the United States. They have some similarities to the United States, but their approach to politics is, in my opinion, quite distinctive. In what ways are Canadian politics, similar to the United States, and in what ways are they unique? In addition to the weekly forum and quiz, we also have the second unit examination this week, which covers the material from chapters 7 to 11. Make sure you take the quiz for chapter 11 before you take the unit exam, as the material for that chapter is also included. All right, let's have a productive week.